Now, we may not be heading abroad for a while just yet, but that doesn't mean we can't indulge ourselves in a bit of summer reading.
Indeed, and why not start with the latest book from international best-selling novelist Carmel Harrington, titled The Moon Over Kilmore Quay. And she joins us this morning online. Good morning to you. How are you?
Morning, Carmel.
Good morning.
How are you? You're looking very bright and summery there.
Just for you guys, I decided to wear every colour in the rainbow.
Thank you so much. Carmel, you said that this particular novel, and congratulations, it's out a week. I think it's already at number 5 in the best-selling charts. Oh, look at
the look of shock.
But you're saying it's one of your proudest productions. Is that because you managed to do it during lockdown? You had your children, so it must have been an uphill battle for you.
I don't know how I remained sane throughout it, to be honest with you, because... Oh my God. Do you know what I found out? I'm not a natural teacher.
Okay.
I mean, I would have thought when I was quite young that I would be a great teacher, but no, I just dipped my imaginary hat to teachers because what they do every day, I could never do. It was really tricky.
I can imagine so. So you had the two little ones in lockdown, homeschooling them. Had you already got the first draft of your book done and dusted, or were you starting from scratch, Carmel?
No, I think I was lucky that I had about 60,000 words done.
Okay.
And it ended up at about 120,000. So I was halfway there. And that meant I could really get into the characters' heads. So it was a bit of escapism, to be honest with you, because every day I turn off the news and sit at my desk and write and get lost in this world. And that took me away from the pandemic.
Which I would imagine would have been very much needed by so many of us. Tell us about The Moon Over Kilmore Quay, because it's going to resonate with a huge amount of people, really.
I hope so. Well, at its heart, it's a story about immigration, about those who kind of left Ireland and those who stayed behind. And it takes you over 3 decades, from the 1990s right till now. And there's 2 main characters. Bea O'Connor, she's the daughter and granddaughter of Irish immigrants, born and reared in Brooklyn, New York. And she receives a letter from her younger self, and it sends her into her family history. And then back in the 90s, Lucy Myrna leaves Kilmore Quay on a Morrison visa, as many did in Ireland, right? And she goes to New York in 1992. And it's how their lives connect. And that's unfolded as the story goes through.
And why did you choose Kilmore Quay as the location?
Oh, do you know what, Alan? It's just the most gorgeous place in the world.
It is? Yeah.
Yeah. Do you know, it's full of those whitewashed walls and golden thatched cottages, and it's almost as if time stood still there. And I liked the idea of that. I'm from Wexford. It was always going to be somewhere in Wexford. But I felt like this was the perfect place so that those Irish immigrants who yearn for home, that hasn't really changed much since they left. And I like that idea. I like the kind of symbology of that. So it's the perfect location for it.
And Carmel, your book is going to resonate with so many people at this stage now who haven't seen family and friends, not because they don't want to, but just because they can't over the last year and a half. So the timing couldn't have been better.
It struck me as I was writing that, Alan, actually, because we're lucky now. We have things like this, like Skype and FaceTime, and we can actually communicate online in a way that they couldn't in the 80s and 90s. So when those left Ireland, and right back, I mean, the Irish always leave when things get tough, and it's been part of our DNA. But they couldn't do that, and a phone call was so expensive.
Yeah.
So you know, that struck me a lot as I wrote it, actually. It was very hard for them back then.
And Carmel, you're well known for doing a huge amount of research before your books, and you actually did get the chance to speak to loads of Irish immigrants currently living in New York. What were the things they missed the most about home?
Do you know, if I had €1 for every time they said Barry's tea.
Really?
God.
Potato crisps.
Potato crisps. Food was mentioned a lot, actually. There's a place in Brooklyn called the Butcher's Block, and it's an Irish supermarket. And you can get your Knorr meal maker, you can get your Kimberley Mikado and coconut creams. It's all there.
Really?
It's wonderful.
And just speaking of research,
really
Carmel,
I
found it absolutely fascinating, and I didn't realise this. Just your previous book, A Thousand Roads Home, you took your children to live in a hotel for quite a period of time and put yourself on quite a strict budget financially as well. What was that experience like, and why did you do that?
Yeah, well, actually, research is very important to me. And my agent calls me a method author because I like to walk in my characters. Now, to an extent, like there's certain things I won't do, but for that story, it's about homelessness, and it's about a family, a single mum and her son, who find themselves in social housing. And I didn't understand that. I'm lucky. I have a front door to close every night, a safe place to fall. And I thought, if I'm going to write their story and do it justice, I need to understand what it's like to live in a small hotel room for more than 24 hours with no money. So that's what I did. I kind of packed up 3 suitcases, and Amelia and Nate and I, and we went and we moved in for a few days, and we were lucky. We could leave and come back to our lovely home at the end of it. But it gave me a great understanding of how scary that must be.
Do you think that helped you with writing the book and the characters in the book?
Totally. And the other thing I did, actually, which was really interesting, Ruth, who is the central character in that, is autistic. And again, that's something I don't understand, because I'm quite social and she's quite socially awkward. So I decided to spend a weekend not looking anybody in the eye and keeping my eyes down. And it was so incredible how people changed how they interacted with me when I was awkward with them. And it made me realize what it must be like to live in a socially awkward world where you're a little bit nervous about coming forward. So that helped the character a huge amount.
Yeah, it must be so intimidating.
And moving back to The Moon Over Kilmore Quay.
Yes.
Did you create a Spotify playlist? We've been listening to music all morning here. Like, what songs are on this? We'd love to know this. And why did you do that?
I just love music so much. And it helped me write the book, because I would put my headphones on and drown out the noises of the kids, you know, as they were playing loudly. And so what I did was I tried to decide, what would the characters be listening to? So in the 90s, I figured Hothouse Flowers, you know, there's a lot of Don't Go, and there was a lot of that. So I played a lot of their songs, and then a lot of the Irish songs, because the Irish diaspora also talked a lot about music. You know, they all had a favourite song, so they're all in it too.
So is there a U2 there?
Whitney,
Whitney. Okay, so U2, Hothouse Flowers, Whitney, Celine, Madonna?
Bit of Sawdoctors, Madonna, all in the 90s.
We'll be chatting to the 4 of us later on as well. Looking forward to reliving those days of Oh Mary.
Yeah.
They're there. Oh, Mary's there. Oh, Mary's there.
Carmel, you have a brilliant story about adopting your beloved dog. So not only were you up to 90 in lockdown, homeschooling 2 kids and writing this book, you look at Little. Is that George Bailey? Look at him. How did he come to live with you?
That is the cutest dog ever.
He's winking just for you guys, right? I swear he's human. I swear he's human. I was looking at Facebook one day and I saw his picture on one of the rescue centres, and he was so bedraggled and he looked so sad. But I just looked at him and I knew he had to be mine. I just knew it. So I drove into Wexford to the rescue centre and I said, I'll take him. And they said, well, hold on now, Carmel, you have to apply for him. A lot of people want him, and you know, we have to go and check your home out, make sure. And I was there, no, I promise you he should be mine. So I wrote a letter, and it was the best writing of my life, because I told them about my kids, how much love he'd get, our big garden, and he moved in a week later.
Oh, you have to frame that letter. He's very much part of the family, I imagine, adored by you all.
I adore him. I literally, so much, I've actually written a children's book for the kids. I don't know if anything will ever happen to it, but I wrote this children's book kind of based on his early life that I had to imagine, because we didn't get him. You know, he was almost a year when we got him.
Yeah.
So I came up with this whole caper for him, and the children love it so much. So it's great.
Carmel, you've had such great success. Are you going to take a little bit of a break now that The Moon Over Kilmore Quay is out?
I am. I'm going camping. Can you believe it? 2 weeks, which is all we can do. We're going to go to Donegal and Sligo, hopefully.
Oh, you'll have a fabulous
and
time.
hopefully the weather will be lovely, because there's nowhere nicer if the weather's nice.
Sit on a beach, read a book.
Well, look, it's The Moon Over Kilmore Quay, and some people describing it a love letter to Ireland. So lovely talking to you this morning, Carmel. Thank you so much.
Have a lovely summer, Carmel.
Thank you both.
Best of luck at the camping.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye. And as Alan just said there, Carmel's new novel, The Moon Over Kilmore Quay, is now available. I think she released it last week. It's available online and in all good bookshops nationwide.
Now, up next, we're updating your summer wardrobe. We'll see you in a few minutes.